check. What's up? What's up? Guys, no pre-market trading today. No pre-market trading today. I kind of had some stuff going on. I did log in at like 6:55 though. I saw a little bit of NEHC. I did see a little bit of this one. Not bad. Not bad. There's three stocks here. Of course, remember the disclaimer, of course, for those of you tuning in on YouTube. Other than that, there's three stocks that we're watching at here. NEHC, of course. Maybe today the open might have something. We'd hope. RSLS and SOAR. What I don't see is a sub $1 stock. Let me see here. I need to set up this high-low ticker that will help me get some of these cheaper stocks quicker during the open. High, low tick. All right, so by the way, today I don't know, man. Today I feel kind of crazy. Another part of why we just kind of took it easy. Um, we got NEHC, RSLS, and SOAR. Those are the top three stocks today. Let's post the watch list. If you're tuning in on YouTube, be sure to hit that thumbs up. Again, no pre-market trading today. We got 15 minutes to the opening bell. I mean, it seemed like it was all right. I'd say it looked like it was all right. You know, there's, I guess, one stock really. RSLS was a little choppy, I'd say, being that we had two or three topping wicks before it gave this move. But there was some opportunities with NEHC. This is the big part of like getting some chop is this right here. These two red candles. Even this one, the first pullback. I mean, it did hold up. If you're taking profits early, this is not too bad. And it really comes down to how well I mean, it looks like we held up nicely here, right? If we're quick to get in for lows, maybe we could have been selling into the highs. But breakouts early after the first move was not following through. Not up until 850. And this stock does not look great on the daily chart, I don't think. Let's double check. Yeah, it's been, kind of stair-stepping down. But it's been popping up every few days, though. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Maybe there's something, but my hopes aren't too high, being that the daily chart is where it is. That's RSLS. So NEHC, which is the leading stock, we got a pre-market high of 144. Since then, we have pulled back a bit of a double bottom here at 95 cents. This could end up being the strong stock into the open for the first 2-3 hours, perhaps. KLTO, I'm noticing on the scans. I want to take a look here. We had it a few days ago. It looks like it sold off a bit. Normally when we're seeing hotter markets in the open, the continuation stocks kind of all play the same rhythm, right? Which is we have a strong day, we hold up into the close, we trend higher, we open up higher pre-market, and we're in a place where we can continue. The daily charts a lot of the times are at all-time highs. This one, I mean, I guess we kind of had that continuation already if you're to count the first 2 days. So being that we're in day three, day four, might not have the same kick. Might not have the same kick. So RSLS, up 37%, 14 million shares of volume. We'll see how that one does. And the last one, SOAR, which is up 57%, 25 million shares of volume. As mentioned, the daily chart on RSLS not the best, but maybe we still see something there. SOAR on the other hand, pre-market high on that one is at 425, and the low of the pullback has been around 324. 324. SOAR on the daily chart. So a few days ago, we did have a candle with some higher volume. 232 to 383, 23 million shares of volume. Back down. Let me see. On the 5 minute. Okay. All right. So that was this day back here. Which was mostly pre-market. So pre-market push, and then that was it. And now we're curling up again today. Can we take the pre-market highs? I think that'll be the main question here. For those of you tuning in on YouTube, as mentioned, no pre-market trading today. Be sure to hit that thumbs up. We got our 3 stocks. We're looking good. We're going to keep an eye on the scans. And we'll see how, how the momentum is today. I'll be back in a sec. TDTH, perhaps worth keeping on the watch list. Trident Digital. Okay, time. We got 7 minutes, which means let me make sure to start up my screen recording. Big Steve, all we want to see is a stock go from 5 to 20 with some nice, clean, linear moves so that we can size up to 20,000 shares at, $10 and catch the $2, $3 share breakouts and achieve the first 100K day. Very doable under the right context of momentum. Bro, the amount of emails I get from people who what I gotta do, so there's a service, right, that in order for someone to email you, they have to pay a fee. Because the amount of emails that I get from just a million people that just knows nothing, that thinks they know everything. And I'm not saying that, in a too aggressive way, but my God, you guys should see these maybe I read some of these emails one day on here, like, man, it is endless. And I have multiple emails. Some is public, some are not. But the ones that are public, man, even all the DMs on every platform is just so saturated. Anyhow, so that's a bit of a side note. Time, we got 5 minutes. Yesterday, a bit of a slower day. We did have, I'm forgetting the name that of the stock. We had two stocks. I think XTIA, which is actually hitting here. XTIA was very, very strong, but sadly, we didn't get any entries for the 3 consecutive halts going up. Um, we thought it was possible we could have seen a red to green here, but that was it, which was fine. Um, we did have one other one that did KZIA, which did halt up earlier in that same day, but after that resumption was also backside. So we'll see how it goes. As long as we see entries, I think that's the key. Man, this cold is killing me here. Time. We got 4 minutes. 4 minutes. RSLS, TDTH, SOAR, and NEHC, the top three. The top three. If I had one wish, it would be to rid the common cold. So 2 minutes 40 seconds. NEHC, RSLS, and TDTH are the top stocks here. Chat room looking good. For those of you tuning in on YouTube, don't forget to hit that thumbs up. And remember our disclaimer, day trading is risky, all right? Day trading is risky. Do not use money you cannot afford to lose. And remember, copy trading does not work. It's all about understanding a strategy and being disciplined for yourself, okay? All right, so we got a couple minutes. Minute 30 seconds, so straight to the best of our abilities. Let's be disciplined. Let's be sharp. NECH, RSLS. Those are my top two. We'll see how it goes here. Share size is set. Could go a little smaller to start. It'll come a little smaller to start. Haven't used really big size in a while. It'll be fun to really push the limits again once, when we start to see some better action. And also, in terms of positioning ourselves now in this current condition too, there are some entries that are giving nice follow through. So we'll be keeping a keen eye. 20 seconds. Keeping a keen eye. Here we go. Triad, your mic is on, brother. Shout out to Triad. XTIA as well. We'll see. It might not be ready yet. Maybe it might need a little bit of time. Keep watching. Okay. Can we see over one? Can we see over one? Some good buying coming in, but we're not really moving up. Sometimes we'll get that gradual move. Okay. Okay. And selling with all that buying going through. There's nothing like massive green on the tape and stock going down. Massive. Massive. Will we be able to see over one? What was my fill? That should have been a nice trade. Anyhow, I was watching. Can we hold up our levels? Can we hold up? Where's KB? KB on vacation for as long as we can remember here. The fills are very slow as well, which is interesting. It's coming down. 96, 98. We're definitely not sustaining those uptrends at all, right? Which is fine. It's been the trend, right? It's been the trend. RSLS curling up a little bit. Perhaps over 3 could be interesting. Jesus Christ. What? I got filled 93? What? 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 Come on. Nah, that's crazy. Bro, that is crazy. That was actually kind of crazy. That one was a little wild. It's not a bad entry either, but or bad trade idea rather. XTIA, RSLS, RSLS, opening up a little bit. I can't believe that fill. The ask price might have been a little higher. I actually took my eyes off the ask price there. So, but 91, I saw 91 on the bids. That's. I took 17,000 shares at like 103, 102 for the break of 105. It's just at 105, it's kind of stalled out. If we get to move to 110, it's a nice opportunity, nice trade. RSLS highs were at 26. Watching to see if we get something here. I'm curious of the 5-minute chart. Come on. Time. Is that it? Maybe not. I'll give it a sec. And that was it. Of course it was. I gotta increase my hold time in that situation. We made a new high of 1 cent. NEHC. crap. I'm muted. The other stocks are sold off. By the way, don't forget to hit the thumbs up. I'm there muted talking to myself. I guess there's better to have some analysis than no analysis, right? Even if there's just one person listening. These stocks, man. Struggling. BSGM, UMAC, and EHC sold off. Tisha, take care, stay safe, stay green. Checking the YouTube chat there, seeing you're shutting it down. We need to see over 30 if this is going to be any good. 28, 29, 30, 31, 34. Bro, is it failing, man? These stocks suck, bro. Come on. Low, all the way down. Oh, I'm gonna get cooked on that fill. Jeez Louise. I gotta be careful or I'll lose pretty big here. I'm trading with actual size. Real size. It's just giving back the entire candlestick. I had 5,000 shares a couple times. It's just not holding up. Small size on the way up, taking the dips with big size, thinking we'll retest. Stock is into the depths. No, we can't be giving a move like that to be bluffing. Like we're right back where we started at 15. Oh man, what is this? We give a nice sweet move. I catch the whole move with smaller size. Just 1,000 shares, 500 shares, and then the stock is in the depths. I got a little too confident there in the stock. It is only a bluff over the highs. Now, granted, we're still below the pre-market high of day, but the previous high of day of 38, we got to 52, and then we're back down. Back to small size. Smaller size. More, more, more. KLTO curling up over 191 to $2.10. RSLS. SOAR. How about TDTH, SOAR? How are those two looking? SOAR. SOAR potentially over 350. The VWAP is definitely resistance here so far. 58 for highs, and we're flagging right below the level with topping wicks. The price action on SOAR seems a little funny. RSLS is still fighting at 20s. Didn't sell off all the way on that last drop. Candle's about to close here on the 5. And we're coming down. I think so far maybe RSLS had the most opportunities. IPA didn't trade that one. 5 days at 51. The halt is at 99. Now at 413. That bid was sold through instantly there. It's struggling to go through. It's a bit of a double bottom there, actually, which is not bad. 5 minute candle is red. Bit of a new low. And it's right back up. Not good. Sellers coming in. Was that about 60,000 shares or so there? Below the ask, below the bid rather. We got sellers right here. Okay. Not the best fills. Well, we see one more pullback before it goes. We're kind of struggling towards high 70s. Our last 5 minute candle had a lot of trouble, and we're coming into the new one here. It seems like back over 80. Well, we'll see. Maybe it might keep consolidating longer. 67. And of course, back down. I tried every micro underneath 77. Zero of them worked. Zero. So getting over 77, or yeah, getting over 77, pushing through that resistance there and taking the dip underneath the level. No good. So over 80 proved maybe to be a little too much on the retest. Didn't take too many dips below 65. My fills are absolutely cooked. Cooked, cooked, cooked. I'm gonna get filled pretty high there. Oh, these stocks, they just move so stupid. Like, the orders there are not even adding up. Ay, ay, ay. Bro, this shit is that is insane to get filled there. That is insane, bro. Fills are completely cooked. When if it goes, it's probably gonna teleport the moment it gets up there. Time. I'm getting filled as the stock is at what 62, 61. I get filled 65. That doesn't even make sense in some of those areas. It, I can't but laugh right at some of those trades. We need to see more buying. 62, 63. The move might happen soon. The move might be coming. Can we see the sweet bush? As long as it doesn't false break, it should be flying to 85.90. We broke that resistance there. We shouldn't be having any issues here. Teleportation to 85.90. Ah, where's the move? Like, man. Ah, these stocks, I tell you, these stocks. I anticipate the beautiful dip and cooked with the entries. It's oh, it held, it actually held. That was close. Could have sold off there. That was some good selling. Alright, I'm about to stop here soon. I'm about to ease off. We've got over the resistance there. It didn't go. We got to 80, we got to 79. We had a lot of sellers. Well, I guess we didn't quite clear 80, but we had a lot of sellers 76, 77. Pushed through, bought up most of the shares at 78, 79, and then that was it. I lost a lot taking the dips below 80 in the early consolidation. Looking for the retest of 80, dips at like 73, 72, 74. Looking for the retest over the level, but we're coming back down to like 69, a couple cents over and over. And then a couple trades with some crazy fills, man. Like getting filled 4 cents higher a couple times. One trade I wasn't looking at the ask, but the others I was looking at the ask, and I'm like, getting filled 3-4 cents above the ask is kind of rough. missed the move going up, which, I don't know, man. These in this market here, the moves going up is just not the same. If you're not in early and holding a little longer, it's pretty much, clips if you're not, maybe chasing aggressively. I saw 17, 18. I looked over at one of the other charts, looked back, we're at 30, and then it was kind of just, mooning from there. From 38, we dipped to 33. Like, again, unless you're chasing aggressively, you're just saying, hey, you know what? I'm just going to jump in here, maybe put a stop at this 35 level, 38. You got to really be aggressive to jump in for maybe break a 40, break a 50. If not, you're missing the entire move to 4. So, which is pretty typical in this market. We're not really seeing a lot of dips, and we're also not seeing a lot of moves hold up. So if a move does hold up, it's a little bit more tricky to just jump in at the high of, like, 40 or 50 or whatever. But when they go, and there's no looking back. Once this move happens, that's it. You got to be in. If not, after the green candle, this is what we had. Just this, bit of a slightly downtrending consolidation. Red day recap. I didn't size down. I could have sized down. I didn't size down. I kept the 2500 base size and 5000 max size. Mentally, I felt good. I told myself the drawdown is over, and still got destroyed on this nice stock. Got killed. Perhaps a little too slow to make some adjustments towards the micros at 70s and 80s. Started taking more of the absolute lows towards the back half. Saw some winning trades, but still ended up giving back towards the end of that. $64 to $60 there. I believe this might have been one of the higher. Yeah, this was one of the higher fills. This was a 70, 71 buy, a minute 75. And I tried to hit the ask. I did get filled some on the ask, and then the rest at 69. That was a tough one. So in conclusion, in summary, I could have used smaller size. I could have had a red day of 300 perhaps if I was to size down. But the stock felt pretty good, which is why I sized up in the first place. This was a little earlier in this move right here. Why did I size up? Well, I was in good rhythm. I caught this entire move, but with smaller size, right? So looking for the continuation now on this pullback, this red candle at, let's see, what time is this? Looking for the continuation at 9:47. I had 5,000 shares on every one of these dips. The dip went right back to the lows. So it was a good idea, but not the right timing. The breakout ended up coming 30 minutes later, or 15 minutes later. 15 minutes later, and typical for this market, off the lows. So I could have done a better job pulling up the stock, or let's say sticking with the stock. When I pulled it up, we were right on this red candle, maybe about 10 seconds left. I check out one of the other charts. The stock is at 30 looking back. So from 17 to 30, and I kind of missed this entire move. So if I'm in rhythm here and using 5,000 shares, catching the first move, you have the confidence to chase the highs a little bit more. The day could be a much better day. But no second leg after this first push here again. I love to trade uptrending momentum. And the uptrend lasted 3 minutes, of which there was no entry. Similar to yesterday, right? We had that stock halted up 3 times. There was no entries. Sometimes these pullbacks can lead to another uptrend, which is why it's good to keep watching in case we do break 77 and we push to 87, 97, maybe 450. But sometimes there's no second, or if you want to count this as the second leg, there's no second leg. Typically, with consolidations, I think I could do a better job, but I don't really love to trade the lows as much, right? So what I like to see is a bit of a bounce off the low to prove that we're curling up a little bit, and then take the baby pullbacks, you know, after the first like relief drop below the resistance, which in this case was never going to work because this thing never popped over like 80. Like we didn't touch 85 again, 95 really. Like our range was as high as like 77 for the high side. Nothing over 80, 85, 90. Some stocks you'll get more topping wicks towards like, maybe 93. Another candlestick might go all the way to a high to a double top. Another candlestick might only get to 83. Some might get to, 77, kind of stay sideways. PLRZ from Big Steve. From the Big Steve. This one is now breaking out from 110 to 120. Here's a new high. A lot of selling at 30. Time. Can we get back above the level? So we're seeing our first 5 minute candle here, first red candle on the 5. Time 15 seconds to the new 1 minute time. On the 5, we got another like minute and a half, minute 15 seconds. Looks like there's that. I mean, I'm not sure about that IPO. I guess it comes down to volume. If there's good volume, it could be worth it. VTG, VT, VNTG, VNTG. This is a decent recovery here. Not quite over 30. Oh man. Can I get the fills? Okay. I'm gonna miss the resumption on the other one. KB, where are those bulls? Bro, we have massive orders and there's like nothing happening. And I got filled extremely high, of course. Ah, man, I tell you, what a nice trade. I'm gonna watch the early pullback if it comes. I don't think we should be retesting the lows anytime soon, but had much better position there, but we kind of came down to fill some more shares. Watching any early entries here again. Might not see any. So that 4,000 shares I sold around 28, the rest should be exiting here, right? And watching again, because we can see a new high. What is that? I'm gonna try it again. I don't think we should be breaking down this low, so anything lower than this will be a complete retest of the lows. And it is, give it one more shot here. Bro, nothing can hold up a 50% retracement of a move. It's like the move guarantees goes down the entire thing that we just had, the entire move we just had. So that trade there is the same trade as the trade below, like, 70, what was it, like 74 on the other stock? It just goes to the depths. So, what we'd expect after the dip holds up so nicely is, okay, we tested high of day, good. Now, can we hold up our pullback and retest the highs again? So, we're here for a new low. Are we going to be able to hold up the lows again? Or are we just going to sell off down to 110 and so forth? Giving it a shot to see if it holds up. If not, cutting it. And there's more selling coming in. Okay. It's fighting. Perhaps a little too quick on that exit there. But again, more selling. 13. Not quite seeing the reclaim. So this is where we need this candle here to hold up. These two candles to hold up. Give us a tight flag beneath the new high. And then can we try again? So if we go from 35 down to 25, 26, 27, whatever. Sometimes maybe even 30. And then we try at the actual high of day, which would be 38. We got to a high of 34, even if it's a double top at 34. But we're kind of giving the full retracement and or a new low. And or a new low. Dumping. Our volume going up is stronger than our volume coming down. However, we're still seeing the sell off. So maybe it does a red to green, and people might watch here. Maybe for a bear flag. There could be a red to green at some point. But it's just so much weakness for an uptrend. There's no uptrend with this. So maybe there's a potential reversal at some point. So do we have lows here for good at 11, or is there something more? New 5-minute candle, 30 seconds. Tomorrow, back to small size. We felt good after 3 nice days. And in the depths, day number 4. In the depths. Back to smaller size. I don't think anything else is moving. All right, I'm going to call it. I am out like South. Red day recap. Bigger size red day. Using bigger size. Not ideal. All right, shutting it down. I think I'll be around, so if something moves maybe later in the afternoon, like 2 p.m., 3 p.m., I can try with smaller size. But if not, tomorrow. Well, tomorrow I'll be starting for 7. Today didn't trade pre-market today. Had to leave early. So I saw the first few minutes of, because I'm like, as I was just getting ready to do what I had to do, I had to put I put on, what am I saying? I put on everything, like, the charts, the scanner, everything, and NEHC was moving up a little bit. NEHC. Out like south. So for those of you still going till 4 p.m., maybe till 5 into after hours, keep an eye on the scans and wait on the sidelines until another stock comes up. That's good for the style. And remember, if you catch, so if you're onto the move early, if it pulls back, you got to keep an eye out just in case that red to green comes in. And you got to be positioned well. If not, if you miss that big green candle, that could be the end of the move. That could be the end of the move. But anyhow, take care, stay safe, stay green. El Pastor, out like south. VT, VNTG. Is it halted up? Volume. This is the IPO that was called out. Volume, not too bad. I don't know. It would really depends on how it opens up and how aggressive it is, how tight the spreads are, because we got into the last two candles. We got 127,000, 112,000, and we're a $5 stock. Ideally, we'd want to see at least like 700,000 a candlestick on the 1 minute, even 400, even like 350, 400. 120, 110 is lighter volume. So maybe if we're hitting the halt scanner here, more people could check it out. That could bring more volume. But if the resumption isn't good, I'm not going to touch it. If it is good, I can use smaller size. And there's no countdown, so the resumption will be at 07 and 50 seconds. So 2 minutes to resumption, 2 minutes. See, this is the thing with when you're gonna walk away, you gotta just walk away, because then if you see something, then just like that, you're back. One minute, 1 minute to the VNTG. Bro, I've never had such a slow patch ever. Like, even the freaking moves that are going up, I'm missing. I'm ready to throw hands with this market. Ready to go into a boxing match. We got 20 seconds if it's 5 minutes. We're at 5:37. We did have a surprise move yesterday, XITA. So let's see what this one does. Smaller size, 537. Will we see high volume? What was the time? 07? 0750 or oh 07? Crap. 5, 6, 7, oh 07. Okay, 50 seconds. 40 seconds. 40 seconds. I walked off and came back. Big Steve, don't worry. I walked off and came back. That's why I had to go do something. That was a that was a bit of a distraction there. It might not be hitting the scans because it's a recent IPO. Could also be what do they call it? SPACs. All right, here we go. Here we go. 10 seconds. Definitely would have to chase again. No proper pullbacks, just kind of straight up. The risk is real. I mean, there's been days I just buy like that, right? Insta buy, but the risk is real, man. All right, I think it's definitely on people's radar now. I think the volume right there still wasn't as high as I would like, but the spreads were tighter. It did give a smooth move, just no entry. So on the second resumption here, we're gonna be right above $6. We could potentially see a little bit more volatility with extra volume. Big Steve says he's walking away. Lucas only looking to risk $500 on this trade. If that comment is in relation to the halt here. Jackson, I'm about to go on a six. At this rate, Jackson, if you're listening, right? At this rate, I'm about to go on a 6-month vacation and throw the keys to the mighty on the live stream. Perhaps some of the students, maybe a couple of the team house members. So Jackson, you can send me your itinerary, man. Pastor gonna become the traveler. Forget these slow markets when I can go vacation on some tropical beach right now. Resumption 13:23. We got about a minute and some change. I saw AR coming down a bit. 13:23. About a minute to go. 1 minute to go. I think Jackson was touring Africa too. Some countries over there. I heard Zanzibar is pretty nice. Go meet up with Triad in Indonesia and then take a plane to Zanzibar. 20 seconds, 23 seconds, 23 seconds coming up. We're at 6:05. 10 seconds. Here we go. There's a seller at 6. I didn't jump in there. There was a big spread. It's halting down. Some people might have gotten caught in that because it did look like it was false halting there. Ay, ay, ay. I'll be watching the bounce and then that's it. After this next one, I'm out. I think there's some opportunity to make money there on that resumption, but there's pretty tight. We had 62 by about 85 or so, and then a 30,000 share seller at 6, and the halt down is at 530. So the halt down is 30 cents away from the bid price, and there was hardly any liquidity in between. So one decent seller and it's like halting down. Just too much risk for me to have jumped in right there. Too much risk. Risky business. Bro, I'm red on a nice stock that went up. Like, this freaking madness. Not so long ago, I'd be red, you know, every now and again, like, once in a blue moon on a hotter stock. And it's like, okay, you really fumbled the opportunity. But to be red consistently is I don't even know how to explain it. It's our drawdown isn't big. We've had many days over 10,000. Our drawdown is like 11,000. After today, it's we made like close to 3,000, and then we lost what 1,400 today. So our drawdown right now is like 10,000. Making 10,000 is very, very, very doable. But man, to still miss opportunities on an uptrend, even if it's just for 2-3 minutes at a time before the stock sells off, is brutal. And then these breakouts are just not, there's hardly any pullbacks in there, just straight up. Which is why this strategy was invented in the first place, is because when a stock is going up, it never goes straight up. There has to be some sort of a pause or a dip or something before it keeps going, right? So at 1853, okay, yeah. So there's usually a pause, a consolidation, and it's why we trade in, and let's put it like this. I don't know why I can't talk. It's why we refer to everything as like micro, hyper. It's because we're trading within the 1 minute candles. Right now, we're even seeing 10-second charts be way more popular. And I would always say we don't really need a 10-second chart because the level 2 is already basically a 10-second chart. The data is coming through and we can see where our bid and ask prices are, all within 1 minute, right? And it's progressive. Time is going. If we drop down to 490, I saw 490. 10 seconds later, I know that 490 was where we dropped down to. Now, if you need a visual depiction, you can get a 10-second chart to see it visually, right? Which is why we kind of have this 10-second chart here now. But in the level 2, it's already there, right? So normally a move should never really go all the way, you know, like 50, 60, 70 cents without some sort of micro move within the move, if that makes sense. We got 50 seconds, 50 seconds. Tomorrow I could start chasing the highs like a madman. But it just seems like it doesn't seem right, you know? And some trades I'll say I'm gonna chase here, but you know, it's not like actually chasing. It's more the breakout is like usually in the beginning of the breakout, or let's say we're coming off of a dip, but it's not the exact bottom of the dip. But we're still way below where you would consider it like real chasing, you know, like buying this thing at like hold on, cutting the chatter, here we go. 530. It might be 10 minutes. It looks like it's 10 minutes. Okay. It is a 10-minute halt. This is my last trade here. I expect a nice sweet bounce, and then that's it. By the way, shout out to Wrong Bet. Wrong Bet, if you're watching, congrats again. Big shout out. One of the long-time members of the chat room who has been able to turn the corner and become profitable. I mean, shout out to Wrong Bet, man. Shout out to George. It's been a long time since we spoke, right? We would have hour plus conversations in the past. But he's someone who's worked extremely hard, man, in his personal life. You know, he's one of those guys who are doing like 10 different things and just making it happen. You know, being a great manager in and out of his career, and has finally turned the corner. And not with hyper scalping, actually, with a different style, right? Trading large caps, longer holds, things like that. And I can post his story here. Let's see if I can grab the link for those of you who might want to check it out a little later once you're done trading. But he's an OG in the chat room here. And has made over 26,000, I think, in profits. Someone saying to call it a day. I'll call it a day after this nice sweet trade coming up here. Like, I'll hold on. Let me see. Let's just make sure the time 23:53. Okay, we got 2 minutes. So I mean, I could walk away right here. I could walk away, but the point I want to stress to the audience right here, right now, is to know that I am not, and I will never be, emotionally hijacked. Like right here, right now, I'm perfectly calm, perfectly fine, and I'm only watching at this setup because it's going to be a good setup. Even if it's not a winning trade, it's going to be a good setup because, you know, again, coming back to that explanation just now, if we're going to drop a ball from a very high place here, this ball is more than likely going to bounce. KNW. I've traded this setup hundreds of times actually. 23.53. Now, if I'm here emotionally hijacked and like just trading something that just doesn't make any sense, like that's a different story. Like that day, I think maybe Monday or was it Tuesday? I think Monday. I gave back the $500 on that $10 stock. The setup on that stock was A plus. Now, if you lose money, it's your own fault, right? If there's a day where you're seeing an A plus setup from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., what should you do on that day? I'll be here from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. on that day, every time. 53 seconds to go. Now, of course, here's where it's a different story. If you're losing from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., then it doesn't make sense to be there at all, right? To me, that's the real difference. Like if you just if there's nothing you can do, then you kind of have to say, okay, that's it. Especially if you're like emotionally hijacked. But the pastor feels pretty good. There's a good setup coming. There's nothing wrong with watching a good setup here. But we have our line in the sand that we won't cross 530. Okay? Only 20 cents. That's not what I want to see for that. We should have gotten a better bounce there. All right, that'll do it. Come on, go, 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 go. I'm rooting for it even though I'm not in still. But not quite getting over 510. And my fills, not bad going in, but terrible coming out. And we didn't really get the explosion over the VWAP again. So right here, we should have bounced to at least, it's probably going to bounce again at some point, but we should have bounced to at least like 540 right there for that setup. Like worst case scenario. Or even like 525, let's say 525, 530. In which case there's like a 40-cent opportunity. We didn't quite get over 10. My fills are cooked though. We should have made more in that trade. Yeah, coming back to that conversation, I mean, I think for each of us individually as the traders, we can use our best discretion as to when is the right time to walk away. Um, if you're emotionally hijacked, I think at that point, of course, that's an obvious one. If you've hit a max loss, I think that's an obvious one. Um, Maybe there's a couple other ones I'm forgetting. But for me personally, and on this day, like this is a day where everything was conscious. Like it wasn't just like randomness. Like I came in here knowing I was going to use bigger size. I already knew the risk. Okay, I happened to be red, but it's not like a max frustration day. And for the people who might not know my concept of the max loss, it's a little different. I wouldn't recommend it for anybody who's new because you need to have a high level of discipline if you're gonna approach the max loss in this way. And for me, it's not a fixed number. It's more so when I get to a point where it just no longer is feasible or makes sense. And I have a line in the sand, right? So there have been days where in the first minute, even in like the hotter times, right? The first minute of the first day of the day, I'm down like 4,500 in one trade. Was that my max loss? The answer was no, right? And why? Typically, I wouldn't want to be down more than 1K to 2K, but why was 4,500 on that day not my max loss? Well, the day has just started. The stock was a $14 stock. I had 5,000 shares. I knew I could make or lose $1 a share instantly, and I happened to be on the wrong side of the trade. Now, because I'm red in the first minute of the day, does it mean for the next 7 hours and 59 minutes that there's not going to be good A quality opportunities that I could trade? And if I'm at a point where I'm emotionally compromised in that first minute, I have to walk away, because then there's no point in sticking around. I can't think clearly. I can't trade properly. I might as well leave and get a reset, walk away, come back later, come back the next day. But if I feel completely fine, and then there's 99 more opportunities for good trades coming, it's like walking away kind of seems a little silly, right? But again, it really comes down to you as the trader, and like how you're approaching your metrics, how you're approaching your, in terms of discipline in general, how you're approaching that, and your rules by extension. So I think for a lot of people who are beginners, it's good to just have a fixed number. Like, hey, if I'm read over 100 or 200, that's it, no matter what. But once you kind of go through the ringers, the ropes, you're caught in halt downs, and you're down 7,000 unrealized, and all these type of things. Like you kind of learn how to manage yourself. You have no choice. Like, you go through those hardships, and then you gain the experience as to what you can do. And then you can, from there, you can always still make adjustments too, right? But yeah, so today we did size back up, which it's been a great week to this point, right? We've made good money Monday, Tuesday, yesterday a little bit of smaller red day. So we felt pretty good so far in the week. Looking to eliminate all this slowness here with some good trading, especially with nice uptrending the stock we lost on is another example, right? So if I was to be losing money, let's pull up a random ticker here. Like let's pull up something like this one, TDTH. If I was to be red on this stock, then I was just doing like what's the point of trading this, right? This is like, unless you're short and like you're just really hammering this thing. But I happen to lose on the hot stock of the day, right? It's like, if you want to ever put out risk, is to put it out on a strong stock that's typically good for what you love to trade and to set up the style, the strategy, right? Which happened to be, I'm forgetting the name here. Was it VNTG? No. Jeez. RSLS? Yeah, okay. RSLS, which end up giving, well, we can say three moves here. This one a little bit more short-lived, and is where we actually went red 500 is on this first red candle here, and then three. So we put out some size on a stock we thought was more, that was, God, why can't I speak? Why? Big Steve, come and save me here. Let me take a second and take a sip of water. If I calm down as I talk, and I'm not really like, I didn't have coffee or anything, so I don't know why I'm not already super calm here and speaking clearly. By the way, I was this way in high school too. Exactly how I'm talking here and like fumbling and stumbling over words. In high school, I was the same exact way. So I guess I never really shook it off properly. I think I need to speak more slowly. Gather my thoughts here before I go. I'm trying to speak too fast. Yeah, so on the third opportunity here, the stock looked really, really good, but was not able to give us a second leg of an uptrend. More so pull back, some bottoming wicks in there, and we slowly trended lower until it gave out. But there are traders who really love the consolidations. I've never loved consolidation trading. When I started, I was more of a breakout trader back in 2020, 2019. In fact, I never traded dips. And so I think some of that definitely carried over, even to these days, these times where I'm a little bit more soft on the pullback entries and waiting for more of a curl and a potential retest of a high to get in. And sometimes, that can lead to missed opportunities. But yeah, that's the day. That's the day. Not sure if there's any penny stocks that came because Sometimes we don't really get to see them on the scans. The one starting at like 10, 15, 20 cents. All right, for those of you going the distance, stay safe, stay green. Here's the link to Wrong Bet's success story. It'll be nice to go see him, man. When I touch down in the Midwest, I'm going to be doing a small meetup with a couple people. I've heard a lot of good things about the pizza, so more than likely get some pizza and do a nice hangout. All right, stay safe, stay green. Yeah, there's only one place famous for pizza, so you know where I'll be going. But I don't know when, man. I don't know when, but it'll happen. I almost went like 3 weeks ago. I came extremely close, extremely close. I needed to do some, like, conduct some business, and I came very, very close to going. But the deal ended up not going through, and so I had no reason to go. But something is gonna come up, and I'll be over there. But all right, take care, stay safe, stay green. Back to small size tomorrow. BNTG trying to halt up, but not worth it for me. I'll catch you guys in the next one. We are done with this red streak, man. Yeah, Zanzibar coming up too. Trading team house in Zanzibar, maybe.